Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi is cracking down on the recent Gen Z Cockroach Party protests.
We are witnessing a massive crackdown on student activists across the country.
Police in states governed by Modi's BJP have reportedly arrested over 100 students in the days since the protest was officially called off.
An online movement with one of the most unusual names in politics, the Cockroach Janta Party took to the streets of New Delhi in protest and helped force India's education minister, a man who is one of Modi's top advisors, to resign. It was a big win for the social media-fueled youth movement, but it may come at a cost. Prime Minister Modi was one of the first Indian politicians to make social media central to his political strategy.
Modi was so politically savvy. He understood the intrinsic power of these tools well before everybody else.
Now, in the wake of the Cockroach Party protests, India's government is censoring social media, removing posts related to the Cockroach Janta Party and their success.
Social media has been the only avenue that people have had to voice their discontent, disagreement, and criticism of the government.
The same internet that fueled Prime Minister Modi's rise to power is increasingly being used to control a movement challenging his government. In 2014, Narendra Modi was elected to be the Prime Minister of India, having campaigned on a platform of economic growth and anti-corruption. And he was able to get this message out using what was then a cutting-edge tool, the internet.
In 2014, it was doing simple things like creating mass registries of people's cell phone numbers and communicating with them via SMS. These are things that are kind of commonplace in America, but in 2014 they were quite new.
And then in the 2019 election, he doubled down on this strategy.
He said that the election of 2019 is going to be fought on mobile phone.
Today, Prime Minister Modi has the largest social media following of any world leader currently in office.
So of course, nowadays, if you look at any political party in India, they will be using a variety of social media tools, but they've all been kind of playing catch up to where Modi was.
Now, in 2026, there's growing disillusionment with the promises that Prime Minister Modi made, and it all came to a head after a leaked exam.
In India, every person who aspires to go to college or to finish high school even needs to pass a centrally administered exam. What happened in this particular case was the exam paper was leaked in advance, which forced the authorities to call off the exam, to postpone it, reschedule it for a different time.
India has seen dozens of national and state exams canceled, annulled, or reconducted because of leaks or other breakdowns in the testing system. This latest example led to widespread outrage and even suicides. And this is happening in a time where nearly 40% of graduates between 15 and 25 years old in India are unemployed, making these exams crucial to any chance of securing a stable future.
I think a lot of young Indians have been kind of led to believe this gospel of meritocracy, that if they work hard and they study hard and they do well on these exams, they'll get a place at a college, and that will allow them to get a well-paying job and become sort of part of this kind of, aspirational middle class or upper middle class. The fact that, these exams don't work the way they should, the fact that there are not enough jobs being created, the fact that even if you're lucky enough to get a job, it may not pay what you think you're worth. There have been this gathering, this sense of frustration amongst kind of India's Gen Z.
Youngsters like cockroaches. They don't get any employment, they don't have any place in profession.
This comment from India's Chief Justice in May of 2026 landed poorly with India's already frustrated youth. It became the catalyst that launched the satirical social media account for the Cockroach Janta Party, or the Cockroach People's Party. And it went viral. The Instagram account for the Cockroach Janta Party gained over 26 million followers. That's a quarter of the number of Instagram followers Prime Minister Modi has.
Tech and social media and politics has been a mainstay of Indian campaigning elections for at least a dozen years. But we haven't really seen this kind of very, young, slick, AI-infected kind of viral memes play such a central role in kind of mass politics. So this was, I think, an inflection point. And, it was a kind of poignant one, because here you have a ruling party, a government, which has had such a large technological advantage over the opposition, over its opponents, being kind of outsmarted, outplayed by a leaderless, brand new group of kind of dilettantes who are protesting, but who are very conversant in current technologies. This kind of played out like a David versus Goliath story.
Despite attempts by Modi's government to shut down internet and cell phone service to curb the protests, the Cockroach Janta Party succeeded in forcing one of Modi's closest ministers to resign. But this rare concession appears to have prompted a broader crackdown. It's the latest move from a government that has become increasingly restrictive of free speech.
Over the last 5 years, the Indian government has built what I call the infrastructure for censorship, and they've created a criminal liability for social media platforms in that an employee of, let's say, a company like Facebook or Twitter can be sent to jail if they don't comply with orders from the Indian government.
Following the protests, Delhi police filed charges over social media posts they deemed derogatory, malicious, and defamatory, demanding that platforms take them down, as well as providing the information of the users. And police used AI-powered facial recognition software to identify protesters.
Some of the protesters are still in jail. Freedom of speech is suffering.
Hi friends.
Prime Minister Modi has made it clear that he is not accepting this movement's criticisms of his government. In a recent Instagram video, he told the CJP that abuse solves nothing, and that he forgives the misguided protesters.
I think the legacy of the Cockroach Janta Party protests is going to be that it's going to lead to the strengthening of censorship laws in India.
And this isn't exactly new in Indian politics.
Every government tries to censor social media in India. Every government tries to suppress criticism and the media in India.
The question is, how much further will Modi's government go to censor its people and restrict free speech?
And they're going to try and evolve mechanisms to try and ensure that this never happens again.
The real success of the Cockroach Janta Party may be how it pushed new issues to the forefront of Indian politics.
I think one of the puzzles for people who've studied Indian politics for a long time is, why haven't basic human rights like health and education kind of been on the political agenda? And, I think one legacy is that these protests have really made those issues mass issues.
I feel like the older generation had kind of accepted the fact that this is just how the country works and learned to live with it, but I like the fact that kids are not willing to stick with that.
They could start to drive party platforms, what politicians talk about, what voters demand, and I think, if that were to happen, that would be just a massive sea change.
Thanks so much for watching. If you're not already a member, head over to patreon.com/Vox to get access to more stories, stay updated on our work, and help support ambitious reporting. It's so important to support independent journalism. Your membership allows us to make really cool videos, research interesting stories, and also dig into the investigative reporting. And if it doesn't make financial sense for you to support us today, you can still follow us on Patreon for free and stay up to date on all of the great reporting going on at Vox.